What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and this is going to be my quick spoiler talk about Spider-Man Far From Home. So, in this spoiler discussion, I'm not really going to give all the tidbits of the movie because it's a good movie. Go check it out. I am going to briefly talk about the third act and about those two very massive post-credit scenes. So, here we go. So let's start off with the third act. The third act is after Mysterio has revealed himself to be the mastermind behind the elementals, which are disillusioned because Mysterio is the master of illusions. And we get our climactic battle on the London Bridge. I think I just screwed that up. But anyway, it's the battle on the bridge with the illusion. Spider-Man has just made his new red and black suit, had his pep talk with Happy, and they go in and then they defeat Mysterio, reclaim control of Edith, which is the AI protocol program that Tony left Peter, but Peter gave Mysterio because he thought Mysterio was going to be a really good hero. It didn't turn out that Mysterio is a villain. He just wanted to get the technology for himself. So Edith stands for Even Dead, I'm the Hero, which I thought was fucking hilarious. But sorry about that, which I thought was hilarious. Once Spider-Man defeats Mysterio, Mysterio dies. Spider-Man's Spider Sense, or Peter Tingle, I'm calling it Spider Sense. I'm not doing that stupid thing with Peter Tingle. Spider Sense is fully activated now, which makes him completely OP in that final battle. He's able to completely dodge all the attacks. He's able to stop Quentin from shooting him in the head with another illusion. It looks great. That leads us to the end of the movie where Peter is just swinging through the city with MJ, and it's a really happy way to end the movie. And I think it shows that Peter's in a good place. He knows who he can and can't trust. He knows who he is. He knows that he's not going to be the next Iron Man. He is basically going to be Spider-Man. And that is the important thing of the movie. And it ends on that happy note. Let's go to post-credit scenes. So the first post-credit scene actually is immediately after that scene where he lands with MJ, says, "I'll see you later." And he jumps up on the on a light post, and the a news bulletin flashes up, and they're talking about how Spider-Man was responsible for the attacks in London. And it's like, what? So Mysterio has framed Spider-Man for the attacks on London, saying he's the one who is responsible. This is before Mysterio dies. And it makes Spider-Man the villain, basically. It's such a dick move, flat out, which is who Mysterio is at that point. So he blames Spider-Man, and he twists the footage to be that Spider-Man was the one initiating the attack. And then we cut to J. Jonah Jameson from the Daily Bugle, who is saying Spider-Man is a menace, and it's freaking J.K. Simmons. So J.K. Simmons reprises his role as J. Jonah Jameson, basically outing Spider-Man as a menace and that he is responsible for these attacks. And as the icing on the cake, Mysterio outs Spider-Man as Peter Parker. So all of New York is standing there looking at Spider-Man standing on the light post, and Peter's face is on the screen. He's not in the suit, and that's something to keep in mind for potentially where they're taking this for the third Spider-Man movie, is that he's not, you can't see him in the suit. The entire footage is just Spider-Man standing there and the audio being twisted to make it sound like he's initiating the attack, but you never see from his torso up. And you just cut to a picture of Peter's class picture saying that that's Peter Parker. So I think there's some plausible deniability of where they can go with this, because it kind of sucks that your third movie is going to be the ramifications of Peter being framed for this and his identity being revealed. My concern with that is that if the only logical storyline from the comics I can think of that they can pull from for this is Spider-Man, I think it was Spider-Man One More Day, which was in that storyline, just to give you a brief understanding, at least from my knowledge. This was after the events of the first Marvel Civil War, where Spider-Man revealed his identity to the world, and after he changed sides from Iron Man to Captain America, he was basically on the run at that point, but his identity was revealed. So all of his villains and foes were going after his family and MJ and, Aunt May. And then the Kingpin sends a hitman to kill Peter, and he moves MJ out of the way, but it hits Aunt May, and Aunt May is potentially going to die. And which really sucks is that at this point in the comics, I think they're married. So he basically makes a deal with the devil in order to reverse it so no one remembers that he is Spider-Man. But in order to do that, he has to give up his relationship with Mary Jane, which is a really shitty way of ending that storyline, because their love is some eternal thing and Mephisto wanted their love. It was weird, and I'm really hoping they don't pull from that for the third one. It just feels like they wrote themselves into a corner with such a huge reveal. If you just stop with Spider-Man as a menace and not reveal his identity, then you have more wiggle room. But now that you've kind of revealed his identity, I don't know what they're going to do. Like I said, you have some plausible deniability of how you can take it, but I feel like they've written themselves in kind of to a corner for the third movie. But we'll see what happens. The other post-credit scene is Nick Fury and Maria Hill driving in New York. And this is after the events of the entire movie, where Fury was the one who brought Spider-Man into this whole mission and couldn't tell that Mysterio was really the bad guy in all of this. He kind of felt like he was slipping. There's a reason for that, because all of a sudden Maria Hill's face starts to change and she's a Skrull. And then Fury's face turns into a Skrull as well, specifically Talos, who was the Skrull from Captain Marvel, who he befriended with Captain Marvel to try to take down the Kree and their allies and stuff like that. So the entire movie, Fury and Hill were Skrulls. And so Talos contacts Fury saying, hey, just checking in, blah, 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 this, by the way, this and this and this happened. So Fury hangs up on him because he's laying on a beach, but it really doesn't look like a beach, and it's a hologram, and Fury's in space with a whole bunch of the Skrulls somewhere. So let's talk about the ramifications for that for a second. So you're saying that Nick Fury was really Talos the entire movie. At least for the entire movie. Who knows if longer than that? Because even Fury even said during the movie, who was really Talos, this is going to get confusing, that I didn't talk to you at the funeral because I didn't think it was appropriate. So if that's the case, so you were there at least since the funeral. Huh? Because keep in mind, Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, Maria Hill and Nick Fury weren't really in the movie that much. They were there at the end of Infinity War when they got dusted. So was that Fury and Hill that got dusted, or was that Talos? How long has Talos been on Earth impersonating Nick Fury? Because remember, before Infinity War, we hadn't seen Fury since Avengers Age of Ultron, because he wasn't in Civil War, and then there was a ton of other movies, and then we don't see Fury until the post-credit scene for Infinity War. So how long has Talos been on Earth? I have a theory. The likely option is that after the snap, Talos came to Earth so Fury could go help them in space and stood in for Fury. That's the most likely option, but if you really want to get skeptical, I think at some point between the events of Age of Ultron and Infinity War, they switched because he probably needed help and he was sent to space to help out. But again, doesn't make a lot of sense because then it gets confusing at that point. You know what I'm saying? It gets really confusing because it would make more sense after Age of Ultron for them to switch, and then the first sign of like an oh shit moment would have been Infinity War, and that's when he called Captain Marvel because him and Captain Marvel are friends. But then he wouldn't have called her before that because he knew he had the Avengers. So maybe my brain is getting racked here. But so maybe Talos was on Earth when Infinity War happened and didn't understand what the Avengers could do, and that's why he called Captain Marvel. But then he wouldn't have been on Earth. So it leaves the door very confusingly open for that. You can do a secret invasion storyline very easily, but Talos and his wife are good guys. For at least as much as we know, they're good guys. So I don't see them being the invasion. It could be something more, something else. But then it just brings into question, how long has Fury not been here? What is he doing in space? So it leaves a lot open to interpretation of where they're taking the story going further. We know we're getting the Eternals movie. Maybe that has something to do with it. That's the only, the Eternals and Guardians Volume 3 are the only two space movies coming out that we know of. They might be doing a Nova movie at some point. We don't know until Comic-Con. So these post-credit scenes, as much of massive bombshells that they are, they don't really give a lot of definitive information about where the Marvel Phase 4 is going. It'll be interesting to see, but they were really huge, shocking moments that were on screen that I felt I had to kind of reveal and talk about. So that's why this spoiler discussion is happening. I will say I'm not a huge fan of the first one, where they basically outed Spider-Man as supposedly the bad guy and revealed his identity. I think, like I said earlier, it just writes you into a corner about where you can take the third movie. I was really hoping for like a Kraven the Hunter would be great, because maybe Kraven now is going to be hunting Spider-Man. That would be fucking fantastic. But I don't know where else they're really going to take it. I just don't want to have them to have to come out with some weird thing to change it so that no one knows his identity anymore. Because Spider-Man's identity was probably one of the last few identities that was not revealed in the MCU. But now, who knows? The Skrull reveal for Fury and Hill, it's interesting to say the least. It's going to be extremely... It's very curious of where they're going to take that in the future. They are supposedly going more cosmic in the future movie. That's probably going to lead into something huge, like the formation of S.W.O.R.D., which was the space-based version of S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe that's why Fury's out in space. It's just going to be interesting to watch. And so those were two really big reveals for the post-credits at the end of the movie. The movie itself, like I said in my review, was really well done. It was great. I had such a blast watching it. I hope you did too, and I hope you did watch my review and go see the movie first before watching this video. As always, thank you so much for watching this. This was the spoiler discussion of the post-credit scenes of Spider-Man Far From Home. So hopefully you have seen the movie before you watch this video. What were your thoughts on the two reveals? Please comment down below, let me know. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and you made it all the way to the end. Aren't you special? If you did like this video, if you don't mind, give me a thumbs up on the description. As well, if you click on my face right over here, you can actually subscribe to the channel for more videos. And if you've got a few minutes, why don't you check out a video or two that are floating on the side right here. Later.